The United States Congress has begun real Saturday sessions to try to break the impasse over budget spending that has led to a partial shutdown of the government. The shutdown began at midnight on Friday after Democrats resisted President Donald Trump's demands for $5 billion of his Mexico border wall. There was little early progress on Saturday, with Mr. Trump warning there could be a long stay in the talks, and Democrats told the president, "You must abandon the wall." 9 of 15 federal departments, including State, Homeland Security, Transportation, Agriculture and Justice, began partially shutting down after funding for them lapsed at midnight, 5:00 GMT Saturday. Hundreds of thousands of federal employees will have to work unpaid or off-road, a kind of temporary leave. This is the third time United States federal funding have lapsed so far this year. Although the other two were brief, the Senate opened its session at about noon local time, with stark warnings from both Republicans and Democrats. Republican Majority Leader Mitch McConnell said the pause button had been pushed and that there would be no Senate vote until he had a signature from the president and agreement from the Democrats on a budget deal. Senate Democratic leader Chuck Schumer said a budget bill that had passed the Republican-controlled House on Thursday, approving $5 billion of funding for the wall would never pass the Senate, not today, not next week, not next year. He added, "So Mr. President, if you want to open the government, you must abandon the wall." Plain and simple, the Senate is not interested in swindling American taxpayers. An unnecessary, ineffective and wasteful policy. In a tweet on Saturday, Mr. Trump said he was working hard in the White House and would have lunch there with a large group concerning border security. He said that we are negotiating with the Democrats on desperately needed border security, but that the talks could be a long stay. Some Republican lawmakers still hope there can be a deal, perhaps involving less money for the wall. On Wednesday, a bilateral deal appeared to have been agreed in the Senate to keep federal agencies open until late February, but the agreement did not include funding for the wall. Mr. Trump then dug his heels in over the issue after criticism from conservative talk show hosts and other allies, and insisted that funds for the wall must be included for him to sign the budget of. The House then passed a bill with such funding, with Mr. Trump well aware the Democrats will be taking control of the legislature in January and the wall funding will stall. But Mr. Trump does not have the 60 votes in the 100 seat Senate. He needs to get the House budget passed. He earlier suggested that Mr. McConnell should invoke the so-called nuclear option to break the impasse. That would mean the bill could be approved in the Senate with a simple majority. But Mr. McConnell has repeatedly refused in the past to invoke such an extreme maneuver. About 380,000 government employees will be made to take temporary, unpaid leave. Meanwhile, 420,000 employees working in essential roles considered necessary for the protection of life and property will keep working without being paid. In practice, this means that the remaining 75% of the federal government is fully funded until September 2019, so the Defense, Veterans Affairs, Labor and Education departments are not affected. Martin Eli,
54.
a tax officer in Arizona, is affected by the shutdown and says has frustrated with the politicians. "I would like them not to use as a bargaining chip. I was last paid a week ago, and hopefully should still be paid on 30 December for this week just gone." but anything after that will definitely be affected by the shutdown. I have been an IRS employee for around 9 years, and I was furloughed during the 2013 shutdown that lasted from October 1st-17. Being furloughed is never a pleasant experience. Having to live on savings and on credit while waiting for back pay, which must be approved by Congress, is tremendously stressful. During the 2013 shutdown, I spent the entire time glued to the TV, watching the news and waiting to be called back to work. Many of my coworkers did the same. We cannot travel for a planned vacation during a shutdown, because we usually only get a day's notice or less to report back to work. So it's no holiday, especially during the holidays. A strengthened southern border wall was a key election promise from Mr. Trump. On Friday, he shared a graphic of his steel sled design for the wall, a design of our steel sled barrier, which is totally effective while at the same time beautiful. Pic. Twitter.com/GLTXH0Q9. End of Twitter post by @RealDonaldTrump. Later, he posted a video regarding the immigration road, where he said it was very dangerous out there. His address, which was spliced with footage that appeared to show immigrants pushing down border fencing, cautioned about drugs and violent gang members entering the country illegally. During his campaign, he insisted he would make Mexico pay for the wall, but the country has refused. This week, Mr. Trump's supporters created a crowdfunding page for the building process appeal that has so far raised more than $30 estimated in just 4 days. Have you been affected by the partial government shutdown? Tell us your story by emailing HNVAYOURSAY@bbc.co.uk. You can also contact us in the following ways. A popular tourist attraction has become the latest Chinese company to show solidarity with Huawei's chief finance officer, Meng Wanzhou, who was arrested in Canada on 1 December. Shannon Mountain Scenic Park in eastern Hainan province said it would waive the $9.65 yuan ticket fee for anyone carrying a Huawei phone. Ms. Meng, who was given bail in Canada, faces extradition to the United States on charges of breaking Iran sanctions. Her case has upped tensions with China. Use Huawei phones. Shoot grand photos on the mountain. A notice on the Shannon Park's social media account said, "We wish friends around the world who support Huawei's success and bliss." The offer would last until 29 December, the South China Morning Post reported. But it was met with some criticism among China's social media users, who claimed it was discriminatory. Huawei phone owners are being offered other enticements too. They can get a 20% discount at a border in Beijing. Seen in Beijing, bring a Huawei phone and get 20% off. Similar to this story we covered yesterday, https://QQXL19YPQLPIC. Twitter.com/Sokolov. End of Twitter post by @LuOceanG. At least one firm has threatened to penalize anyone buying Apple products. A few days ago, Manpad Shenzhen-based LED and display manufacturer offered subsidies to any employees buying Huawei phones. It also pledged to fine anyone who bought an Apple iPhone. United States prosecutors alleged Ms. Meng
46
used the Huawei subsidiary called Skycom to evade sanctions on Iran between 2009 and 2014. They also alleged she publicly misrepresented Skycom as being a separate company from Huawei, and that she deceived banks about the true relationship between the two companies. Ms. Meng, who is the daughter of Huawei's founder, has denied any wrongdoing and said she will contest the allegations. life of Huawei's high-flying heiress. The United States has been investigating the Chinese telecoms giant, the world's second-largest smartphone maker, since 2016, believing that it used Skycom to bring United States manufacturing equipment and millions of dollars in transactions to Iran in violation of sanctions. Ms. Man's detention comes amid an increasingly acrimonious trade dispute between Washington and Beijing. China is angry at her detention, saying she has not violated any laws.